Have you ever asked yourself why some people seem unstoppable, while others fight the same battles every single day and never move forward? Why does success feel natural for a few, while for others it always feels like an uphill climb? The answer often lies in something so simple yet so powerful: how they begin their mornings. Think about this. Every single morning, when you open your eyes, life gives you a brand new page. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter how many times you failed, how many times you doubted yourself, or how heavy the weight of your past feels. When the sun rises, you are handed an opportunity to start again. The morning is your reset button. But the question is, what do you write on that blank page? Most people don't even realize the value of those first hours. They wake up and instantly reach for their phone, flood their mind with other people's lives, other people's problems, other people's noise. Without even noticing, they give away their peace before the day has even begun. They start reactive instead of proactive. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted, unmotivated, or lost. Psychology has proven this again and again. The way you spend the first hour of your day sets the tone for the rest of it. Your brain works like a sponge in the morning, absorbing emotions, energy, and thoughts faster than at any other time. If the first thing you do is fill it with distraction, fear, or comparison, your entire day is poisoned by that. But if you start your morning with clarity, strength, and focus, that energy carries with you like an unstoppable force. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. Success is not built in the big moments. It's built in the small habits you repeat every single day. And your morning routine is the foundation. You can't build a strong building on weak ground. In the same way, you can't build a powerful life on careless mornings. Let me ask you something. When you woke up today, did you take control of your morning, or did your morning control you? Did you rise with purpose, or did you just drift back into the cycle of yesterday? These questions matter because your mornings decide your momentum, and your momentum decides your life. Imagine this. You wake up, and instead of immediately diving into the chaos of the world, you take a breath. You give yourself space to think, to feel, to connect with who you are and where you want to go. You don't just start the day, you own the day. How much stronger would you feel? How much more focused, more disciplined, more unstoppable would you become if every morning started like that? That's the secret the most successful people in history have known. They don't wait for motivation to strike in the middle of the day. They don't hope to suddenly feel inspired. They build the inspiration into their mornings. They set the direction before the world can pull them off track. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to be a billionaire, an athlete, or a genius to do this. You only have to decide that your mornings are sacred, that they belong to you, not to the noise around you. Think about the human mind. It craves certainty. It craves structure. When you give your brain a morning ritual, it interprets it as safety, as strength, as control. You start your day with an inner voice that says, I know where I'm going. I know what I stand for. And when you carry that energy into the day, obstacles don't feel as heavy, challenges don't break you, and distractions lose their power over you. But if you treat your mornings like they don't matter, if you stumble into the day without intention, you unconsciously send a message to your brain that says, I don't control my life. Life controls me. And once that belief takes root, it spreads everywhere. You lose confidence, you lose discipline, and you lose that fire inside of you. That's how people end up stuck in the same routines for years, never realizing that freedom was waiting in the first hour of their morning. Here's what I want you to remember. Every sunrise is a gift, but only a few know how to use it. Most waste it. They sleep through it, or they trade it for scrolling, for noise, for distractions. But the ones who rise with intention, who treat the morning as the foundation of their greatness, they are the ones who climb higher, faster, stronger. And this is the reason you need to stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm not just going to tell you that mornings are important. I'm going to hand you the exact steps, the 10 powerful actions that will completely transform the way you start your day. By the end, you'll have the tools to build unstoppable mornings that push you closer to your goals every single time you open your eyes. So if you've ever felt like you're stuck, if you've ever felt like no matter how hard you try, life keeps pulling you back, this is for you, because your breakthrough doesn't start in the middle of chaos. It starts in the quiet of the morning. This is where you take back control. This is where discipline is born. This is where greatness begins. Remember, you don't have to control the entire day. You only need to master the first hour. Win the morning, and you will win the day. Win enough days, and you will win your life. And that's exactly what we are about to do. Step by step, habit by habit, building the kind of mornings that turn ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. So stay with me, because by the end, you won't just understand the power of mornings, you'll have the exact formula to unlock it for yourself. When you open your eyes each morning, what is the very first thought that runs through your mind? Do you rise with a clear purpose, or do you drag yourself out of bed because you feel you have no choice? This single moment, the first breath of the day, reveals more about your life than you might realize. Because how you wake up is not just a physical act. It is a decision about who you are becoming. Most people wake up like prisoners. They hit the alarm, sigh, and immediately feel trapped in another cycle of duties, deadlines, and distractions. They see the day as something to survive, not something to shape. This mindset drains energy before the day has even started. It makes you a follower of circumstances instead of the leader of your own life. But here's the truth that can change everything. Waking up is not enough. You must wake up with intention. Intention is the fire that lights direction. It's the silent agreement between you and yourself that says, I know why I'm alive today. I know what this day means for my future. Without that, you are just moving through time, not truly living in it. Think of it this way: every morning is like standing at a crossroads. One path is automatic, the same routines repeated without thought, leaving you stuck in the loop of yesterday. The other path is chosen with clarity. It's when you say to yourself, today is not an accident. Today is mine to command. That choice is what separates growth from stagnation. Psychologists tell us the human brain is wired to search for meaning. Without a sense of direction, people fall into habits of procrastination, avoidance, and even depression. But when the brain receives a clear reason, even a small one, it unlocks hidden energy. Suddenly, what felt impossible feels manageable. This is the power of intention. It turns ordinary mornings into the foundation of extraordinary lives. You have felt this before. Remember a morning when you had something important ahead, a job interview, an exam, or a journey you were excited about. Did you notice how easy it was to get out of bed that day? Did you notice how alert and focused you felt, even if you had little sleep? That is intention in action. It is proof that your body and mind are fueled not just by rest, but by purpose. The mistake most people make is waiting for life to hand them a reason to feel alive. They wait for special occasions, opportunities, or inspiration. But intention is not something you wait for. It is something you create. You decide every morning what your reason is, no matter how small. It could be working on your dream for just an hour. It could be becoming 1% better than you were yesterday. It could be proving to yourself that discipline is stronger than doubt. Whatever it is, that reason gives shape to your day. And when you wake up with that kind of clarity, you are not just surviving, you are directing your destiny. The mind becomes sharper, distractions lose their grip, and confidence rises naturally. Because deep inside, you know you are not wasting time, you are investing it. Here's the beauty of intention. It doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need to design a perfect plan for the next 10 years every morning. You only need to ask yourself one question. As soon as you wake up, why am I alive today? That question cuts through the noise. It silences the temptation to drift. It reminds you that life is not random. And when you answer it honestly, even with the simplest answer, you reclaim your day before it even begins. This practice works because the brain loves certainty. Neuroscience shows us that when the mind knows what and why, it no longer feels the same resistance to how. You don't wake up wondering what to do. You don't waste energy on confusion. Instead, you carry a sense of clarity that feels like momentum. It is like having an inner compass pointing you toward the life you want. And there's another hidden benefit. Waking up with intention builds self-respect. Every time you open your eyes and declare a purpose, you send a message to yourself: I matter. My life matters. My time matters. That message, repeated day after day, reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who drifts, and you start seeing yourself as someone who directs. That shift alone can rebuild confidence in ways nothing else can. Now imagine repeating this habit every morning. Imagine weeks and months of waking up not by accident, but by design. The compound effect is unstoppable. Small, consistent mornings of clarity turn into years of growth. And one day you look back and realize you didn't just live a life, you created one. Remember, the morning is not just about rising from sleep. It is about rising from doubt, from hesitation, from the chains of yesterday. Every time you open your eyes, you have the chance to declare who you are becoming. So do not waste it. Don't let the alarm control you. Don't let habits of laziness steal your strength. Rise with intention, and the world will begin to respond differently to you. Because life doesn't reward those who simply wake up. It rewards those who wake up on purpose. When you rise with intention, there is one powerful habit that strengthens it and locks it into your soul: gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is not a polite gesture or a social habit. It is a state of mind, a lens through which you see life. And the way you see life determines the way you live it. The truth is, most people wake up focused on what they lack. They open their eyes and immediately think about bills, problems, deadlines, and everything that is missing. They train their brain to notice only what is wrong. And when you start your day like this, your mind begins to build a filter of scarcity. You become blind to the opportunities around you because your focus is trapped in fear and frustration. Gratitude flips that filter. It tells your brain to search for what is already good, what is already working, what is already a blessing. And once the brain starts scanning for positives, it shifts the emotional state of your entire being. Worry loses its grip, stress softens, and suddenly even the challenges in front of you begin to feel lighter. Science confirms this. Studies in psychology show that when people practice gratitude regularly, their levels of stress hormones drop, their sleep improves, their relationships strengthen, and their ability to stay disciplined rises. Why? Because gratitude creates perspective. It reminds you that life is bigger than the problem you are facing. It trains you to see possibility instead of limitation. Think about it. You cannot feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You cannot hold anger and thankfulness in the same breath. Gratitude cancels negativity because the brain cannot fully focus on both. That means the moment you choose gratitude, you are choosing power over weakness. You are choosing strength over doubt. And here's the key. Gratitude is not about ignoring reality. It does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means recognizing that even in the middle of struggle, you still have something worth fighting for. It is choosing to notice the light even when the darkness is loud. That perspective keeps you moving forward when others give up. Consider this. There are people right now who would give anything to live the life you complain about. Someone is praying for the job you say you hate. Someone is dreaming of the health you take for granted. Someone is wishing for the opportunities you overlook. Gratitude reminds you of this truth. It grounds you in humility and lifts you in strength at the same time. When you start your morning, by practicing gratitude, you are rewiring your brain to see abundance instead of lack. You are telling yourself, I already have something valuable, and because I see it, I can build on it. That belief changes the way you walk into the day. You carry yourself differently. You face problems with courage instead of fear. You attract better energy from others because people naturally gravitate toward those who radiate thankfulness. The best part is, gratitude does not take hours. It only takes a few minutes. The moment you wake up, pause and bring to mind 3 things you are truly grateful for. It could be your family, your health, your freedom, or even a simple gift of another sunrise. As you think of them, feel them. Don't just list them in your mind. Let the feeling sink into your body. Let it remind you that you are not starting the day empty. You are starting it already blessed. This simple exercise might seem small, but it builds momentum. Because when you anchor your morning in gratitude, your decisions throughout the day reflect it. You are less likely to complain, less likely to quit, and more likely to notice opportunities instead of excuses. That shift compounds over time. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and before you know it, gratitude has transformed the entire atmosphere of your life. And remember, gratitude is not only about the big things. You don't have to wait until you achieve something massive to feel thankful. The secret is to find beauty in the small details. The warm cup of water in your hands, the ability to take a breath, the chance to try again today. When you learn to value the little things, the bigger things arrive more naturally because your heart is already trained to see them when they come. This is the psychology of winners. They don't dwell on what's missing, they focus on what's present. They don't allow negativity to dominate their mornings, they feed their minds with thankfulness. And because of that, they carry resilience into everything they do. They are not shaken easily. They are not broken by small setbacks. Gratitude makes them stronger than circumstance. So ask yourself right now, what can you appreciate in this moment? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right here. Because the more you practice this skill, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, gratitude is no longer just something you do in the morning. It becomes who you are. And when thankfulness becomes part of your identity, life feels richer, deeper, and more meaningful than ever before. Wake up with intention, yes, but fuel that intention with gratitude, because gratitude turns an ordinary morning into a foundation of greatness. It builds a shield against negativity, and it opens doors to strength you never knew you had. Start your day with this mindset, and no obstacle will feel too heavy to carry. Gratitude is not just a morning practice, it is the key to unlocking peace, focus, and unstoppable progress. And it begins the moment you choose to see what is already good in your life. The mind cannot rise if the body stays still. The way you treat your body in the morning decides the energy you carry into every action that follows. Movement is not just exercise. It is a signal to your entire system that you are awake, alive, and ready to take control. Many people underestimate this. They believe movement is optional, something reserved for athletes or those chasing fitness goals. But the truth is deeper. Your body and mind are not separate forces. They are one system. When the body feels sluggish, the mind follows. When the body is energized, the mind sharpens. This is why motion in the morning is not about building muscles. It's about building momentum. Think about the mornings when you stay in bed too long, scrolling or delaying your start. You carry that heaviness with you for hours. You move slower. Your thoughts are clouded. Motivation feels out of reach. Now think of the mornings when you stretch, ran, walked, or even just breathed deeply. Notice how different you felt, lighter, more focused, more alive. That is the proof. Action creates energy. Stillness creates stagnation. Psychology teaches us that the state of the body influences the state of the mind. When you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with power, your brain releases chemicals that improve focus, confidence, and resilience. Even a few minutes of motion can shift your emotional state completely. That's why movement is not optional. It's essential. You don't need hours in the gym to feel this effect. You don't need fancy routines or expensive equipment. What matters is intention. A few push-ups, a short jog, stretching your muscles, or even walking outside can awaken the system. It's not about perfection. It's about telling yourself, I'm in command of this day. That simple act of discipline sets a tone that carries forward. Consider this. When you move your body first thing in the morning, you're doing more than strengthening muscles. You're strengthening willpower, because choosing to move is choosing discomfort. And every time you choose discomfort, you train your mind to overcome resistance. That habit transfers into every area of life. Suddenly, difficult conversations feel easier, challenges at work feel lighter, and goals that once felt impossible start to feel reachable. There's also a deeper message hidden in movement. It tells your subconscious that you are someone who takes action. That identity becomes powerful, because once you start to see yourself as a person who acts, procrastination loses its grip on you. You no longer wait for the perfect moment, you create it. And it all begins by moving your body when most people are still frozen in hesitation. Science shows us that physical activity triggers endorphins, the body's natural mood boosters. This means when you move, you don't just gain physical strength, you gain emotional armor. Stress loses its weight. Anxiety quiets down. Doubt softens. You enter the day with a shield that negativity struggles to penetrate. That shield is priceless in a world full of distractions and pressure. And here's something most people don't realize. Movement creates clarity. When blood flows and oxygen rises, your brain begins to think faster and sharper. Ideas come more easily. Decisions feel clearer. That fog that lingers when you drag yourself out of bed begins to disappear. Suddenly, the goals that felt overwhelming shrink into steps you can handle. The body leads and the mind follows. Ask yourself, how different would your days look if you started every morning by charging your body? How much stronger, calmer, and more focused would you feel if the very first victory of the day was already won before the world even demanded anything from you? That is the opportunity you have every single morning. The most powerful people in the world understand this. They may not all have the same routines, but they all respect the link between movement and mindset. Because when you build a morning habit of physical action, you are not just training muscles, you are training discipline, resilience, and consistency. These qualities spill into every part of your life, turning ordinary days into extraordinary progress. And the truth is, the hardest part is not the exercise itself. The hardest part is starting. The battle is fought in those first few moments when your mind whispers excuses. I'm tired, I'll do it later, today doesn't matter. But when you push past that whisper and move anyway, you silence the voice of weakness. You prove to yourself that discipline is stronger than comfort. That moment of victory is more powerful than any physical result because it builds self-respect. Over time, this daily act of moving your body becomes more than a habit. It becomes a statement. It tells the world, I will not stay still. I will not stay weak. I will rise and take command. And once that becomes your identity, nothing can hold you back. So remember this, movement is life. Each morning, your body is asking you a question. Will you carry me with strength or will you drag me with weakness? Your answer decides the energy, focus, and power you bring into everything else. Choose to move and you choose to rise. After you activate your body, the next step is to activate your mind. Because a strong body without a strong mind will not carry you far. The truth is, the thoughts you allow in the morning are the seeds that grow through the rest of your day. If you plant negativity, distraction, or confusion, you will harvest the same. But if you plant wisdom, clarity, and focus, you will walk into the day with strength no challenge can take away. Most people wake up and immediately fill their head with noise. They scroll through endless updates, absorb arguments, and consume information that does not serve them. They don't even notice it, but they are programming their mind with chaos before they have even stood up fully. And when the mind begins in chaos, the day reflects that chaos back. But you don't have to live like that. You can choose to feed your mind with fuel instead of poison. You can choose to start with knowledge, inspiration, or even silence that guides you to clarity. This simple choice shifts your entire outlook because the first content you consume in the morning has the most power over your mindset. Psychologists call this the priming effect. Whatever you experience first sets the emotional tone for everything after. If you begin the day with negativity, your brain looks for more negativity. If you begin with strength, your brain looks for more strength. That's why the first thing you allow into your mind is so critical. It sets the path your thoughts will travel for hours. So imagine this, instead of drowning in endless distraction, you begin the morning by filling your head with words that lift you higher. A page from a book that challenges your thinking. A short podcast that inspires action. A written reflection of your own goals and values. These small choices are not just information, they are mental armor. They protect you from the pressure of the world by reminding you of who you are and what you stand for. Think of your mind like a garden. If you don't plant intentionally, weeds take over, and those weeds are doubts, fears, and comparisons. But when you take a few minutes to plant seeds of growth, they multiply and take root. Over time, that garden becomes stronger than the weeds. That is what happens when you feed your mind first thing in the morning. There's another layer to this, your subconscious mind. It is most active right after waking, still soft from sleep, still open to suggestion. Whatever you give it in those moments sinks deeper than at any other time of the day. That is why morning rituals are so powerful. If you feed your subconscious fear, it will echo fear all day. But if you feed it strength, it will echo strength back. You are literally shaping the voice inside your head with what you choose to consume. Ask yourself, are you letting outside noise shape your thoughts, or are you choosing what enters your mind? Because one path leads to distraction, and the other leads to discipline. And discipline is what creates progress. This practice is not about adding hours of study or forcing yourself to do something complicated. It is about being intentional with the first few minutes of focus, 5 minutes of reading something meaningful, 10 minutes of listening to a message that sharpens your perspective, even journaling one page of your own thoughts to align with your goals. These actions may seem small, but they are powerful because they take place at the beginning. The beginning always holds the most influence. Feeding your mind in the morning also builds identity. Every time you choose to grow instead of drift, you are proving to yourself that you are serious about your future. You are no longer the person who starts the day blind. You are the person who sharpens your vision before you step into the world. That identity is priceless because once you see yourself as someone committed to growth, you act in alignment with it. Your choices throughout the day naturally rise to match that standard. And there's something else. When you feed your mind with positive input, it changes the way you interact with others. You walk into conversations calmer, more focused, more confident. People feel the difference. They sense the energy of someone who has already centered themselves before stepping into the noise of life. And because of that, they respect you more, trust you more, and follow your lead. This is the invisible power of a trained mind. It influences not just your inner world, but the world around you. The simple reality is this: your mind will be fed by something. If you don't choose what that is, the world will choose for you. And the world will not always give you what is healthy. That is why protecting your mornings is not a luxury. It is survival. It is the difference between being pulled by outside forces or being driven by your own vision. So each morning, before the day has a chance to pull you in 100 directions, choose to give your mind strength. Choose words that remind you of who you want to be. Choose lessons that sharpen your wisdom. Choose silence if silence is what helps you see clearly. Just don't choose nothing, because nothing is never empty. It always gets filled by something. And if you don't take control, what fills it may not lead you where you want to go. Feed your mind before the world feeds it for you. Plant the seeds of focus before the weeds of distraction take over. Shape the voice in your head before the outside noise decides what it will say. Because when you start with a strong mind, every action that follows becomes sharper, stronger, and more unstoppable. A mind filled with inspiration is powerful, but without direction, that power is wasted. Knowledge without structure becomes noise. That is why the next step is to design your day before it designs you. Planning your priorities is not about writing a long list of tasks. It is about declaring what truly matters and refusing to let the world steal that focus. Most people live in reaction. They wake up, let messages, notifications, and problems dictate their schedule, and spend the day running in circles. By nightfall, they are exhausted but unsatisfied because they were busy without being productive. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse urgency with importance. And that confusion keeps them trapped in mediocrity. The truth is simple. If you don't decide your priorities, someone else will. Life is full of distractions dressed as opportunities. If you don't set your path in the morning, you will spend your time following the agenda of others. That is why clarity is power. When you know your priorities, every decision becomes easier. You stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter, and you begin to invest energy in what shapes your future. Psychologists explain that the brain has limited willpower each day. If you waste it on endless choices and unimportant decisions, you weaken your ability to focus on what truly matters. But when you plan your priorities in advance, you save your mental energy. You no longer ask yourself 1,000 times, what should I do now? Instead, you already know, and that certainty feels like momentum. Planning your priorities also creates discipline. When you write down what you will do, you create an agreement with yourself. Each time you follow through, you build trust in your own word. That trust is confidence. Confidence is not built by luck. It is built by keeping promises to yourself, even small ones. And every morning, when you set clear priorities and honor them, you are proving to yourself that your word has power. Here's the key. Planning is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. Productivity is not measured by how many boxes you check, but by how much progress you make toward your vision. One meaningful action is worth more than 10 meaningless tasks. That is why you must identify the few things that truly move you forward and commit to them first. Think of your time like a container. If you fill it with sand and pebbles, small, unimportant tasks, there will be no room for the big stones, the things that actually matter. But if you place the big stones first, your highest priorities, the smaller pieces will find their space around them. The order is everything. If you don't plan the big stones in the morning, the day will fill with sand and your vision will remain buried. Ask yourself, what 3 actions today will move me closer to my goals? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Write them down, commit to them. This simple habit, repeated consistently, reshapes your entire life because each day becomes a step forward instead of a cycle repeated. And understand this, priorities are not always urgent. Often, the most important work is quiet, invisible, and easy to delay. Building your dream, strengthening your discipline, investing in your growth, these rarely demand your attention. But if you neglect them, life slowly erodes your potential. That is why setting priorities requires courage. It means saying no to distractions even when they are tempting. It means choosing progress over comfort. Clarity also reduces stress. When you know exactly what you must focus on, you silence the endless noise of uncertainty. The brain feels calmer when it has direction. Instead of drowning in options, you create structure. That structure is freedom, because true freedom is not doing everything. It is having the power to do what truly matters. Another benefit of planning your priorities is consistency. Success is not about intensity. It is about repetition. Anyone can work hard for a day, but only those who structure their lives can sustain growth for years. Planning transforms ambition into discipline and discipline into results. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, dreams become daily steps forward. Think of the people you admire, the ones who achieve greatness in their field. They are not more talented than everyone else. They are more focused. They know what to give their time to, and they protect that time like it is sacred. The habit is not luck. It is a decision they make every morning to honor their priorities above everything else. And here's the truth you must face. You cannot do everything, but you can do what matters. And if you do what matters consistently, you will create a life that feels meaningful instead of wasted. That begins each morning with a pen, a piece of paper, and a decision. So before you step into the chaos of the day, pause, ask yourself what matters most, write it down, guard it, commit to it. Let that guide you, because without priorities, time slips through your fingers. With priorities, time becomes your greatest tool. Your morning should not just be about energy and inspiration. It should also be about clarity. And clarity comes when you plan your priorities before the world can steal them. That single act can turn an ordinary day into a masterpiece of progress. After setting your priorities, there's one more habit that strengthens them: the power of silence. In a world that never stops talking, stillness has become rare. Yet silence is where clarity is born. Reflection is where understanding grows. When you give yourself a few quiet moments each morning, you unlock a strength that noise can never provide. Most people fear silence. They fill every second with sound: music, news, conversations, endless chatter from their devices. They don't realize that the constant noise is drowning out the most important voice of all, their own. Without silence, the mind cannot breathe. Without reflection, the heart cannot align with its purpose. Think of silence as fuel for your inner world. When you pause and allow stillness, your thoughts begin to settle. Confusion fades. Worries lose power. Answers that felt hidden begin to rise to the surface. It is in these moments that you connect with yourself, not as the world sees you, but as you truly are. Psychologists remind us that the brain processes emotions and experiences best when given quiet space. Without reflection, stress accumulates like a weight you never notice until it breaks you. But when you sit in silence, even for a short time, the mind soars through that weight. It organizes, it heals, it resets. You give yourself the gift of clarity before the demands of the day arrive. Silence also builds strength against distraction. In the stillness, you train your focus. You teach your mind to stay present instead of chasing every noise. Over time, this practice builds resilience. You become less reactive, more grounded, and more in control of your emotions. The world may still be loud, but inside you carry calm. That calm is power. Reflection is not about overthinking. It is not about replaying mistakes or worrying about what might go wrong. Reflection is about stepping back and seeing your life with perspective. It is asking yourself honest questions. Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I moving toward the vision I set for myself? Am I wasting time on things that don't matter? These questions create self-awareness. And self-awareness is the root of change. You cannot grow if you don't first see where you stand. Imagine starting your morning with 5 minutes of silence, closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and letting the noise fade. Then imagine asking yourself one powerful question about your life, listening carefully for the answer that rises from within. That single practice can shape the decisions you make for the rest of the day. Because clarity is not found in noise, it is found in stillness. There is also a deeper benefit. Reflection builds gratitude. When you pause, you notice things you would normally overlook: the quiet strength of your breath, the comfort of shelter, the chance to try again today. Reflection reminds you that life is not just a list of tasks to complete, but a gift to appreciate. This mindset makes you stronger than stress, because stress shrinks in the presence of perspective. Even great leaders, thinkers, and creators throughout history have valued silence. They understood that true ideas are not born in chaos. They emerged when the mind had space. They protected their quiet moments because they knew silence was not emptiness. It was the soil where inspiration grows. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat quietly with your own thoughts, not distracted, not running, not planning, but truly present with yourself? If the answer feels distant, then you have been giving too much of your life away to noise. And the good news is you can take it back, one morning at a time. Reflection also strengthens decision-making. When you are constantly rushing, you make choices out of pressure. But when you take time to reflect, you make choices out of clarity. Pressure creates mistakes. Clarity creates wisdom. This is why a few minutes of silence can save you hours of regret later. And let's be clear, silence does not mean inactivity. It is not wasted time. It is an active choice to recharge your mind before it is pulled in every direction. Just as a phone must be charged to function, your inner world must be recharged through reflection. Without it, you are running on empty. Start small. Even 2 minutes of focused breathing can shift your entire state. With practice, extend that time. Write down the insights that come to you. Notice the way silence changes your perspective. Over days and weeks, this habit will become a sanctuary, something you crave because it makes you stronger. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not laziness. Silence is discipline. It is the discipline of listening to yourself, of connecting with the part of you that is too often ignored. And when you master that discipline, you carry a strength that others cannot understand. Because while they are distracted by noise, you are guided by clarity. So each morning, before the world invades your mind, create space for silence and reflection. Breathe. Listen. Ask yourself the questions that matter. Find alignment before you chase action. Because without reflection, even the most productive day can feel empty. But with reflection, every action feels purposeful. Every challenge feels lighter, and every moment feels meaningful. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of strength. And reflection is not dwelling on the past. It is preparing for the future. Embrace both each morning, and you will carry peace, clarity, and power into everything you do. Silence allows you to hear your inner voice. But what matters most is what that voice is saying. Every person carries an inner dialogue, a constant stream of thoughts and words that shape emotions, choices, and identity. This conversation is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. That is why mastering positive self-talk each morning is not just helpful. It is essential. Most people don't realize how cruel they are to themselves. They wake up and immediately remind themselves of their failures, their flaws, their shortcomings. They replay mistakes, whisper doubts, and repeat stories of weakness. If anyone else spoke to them the way they speak to themselves, they would never tolerate it. Yet, because the voice is internal, they believe it must be true. But the truth is different. Your self-talk is not reality. It is programming, and programming can be rewritten. The human brain believes repetition. Whatever you hear most often, you eventually accept as fact, whether it is true or not. That is why the words you say to yourself every morning matter more than you realize. If you feed your mind with doubt, you will shrink in fear. If you feed it with strength, you will rise with confidence. Words are not just sounds, they are signals that shape your entire nervous system. Psychologists explain that affirmations, when spoken with conviction, change neural pathways in the brain. Repeated positive statements build new patterns of belief. And over time, those beliefs guide behavior. It is not magic. It is science. What you tell yourself daily becomes the script you live. If you keep saying, I can't, your brain will close doors. If you say, I will, your brain begins searching for ways to make it possible. Consider this, every champion, every leader, every innovator you admire had to master their self-talk. They were not immune to doubt. They were not born fearless. They simply refused to let destructive words control their destiny. They spoke strength into themselves until strength became natural. You must do the same. Morning is the most powerful time to practice positive self-talk because your mind is fresh and impressionable. The words you feed it in those first hours echo throughout the day. If you begin with negativity, the weight follows you. But if you begin with powerful affirmations, you build a shield. That shield protects your focus and fuels your confidence. So what should this sound like? It does not need to be complicated. It needs to be direct, strong, and personal. Statements like, I am capable. I am disciplined. I am stronger than my excuses. Today I move closer to my goals. These are not just phrases, they are commands to your subconscious. Each time you repeat them, you carve deeper grooves of belief. But remember this, self-talk is not about ignoring reality. It is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about focusing on your strength instead of your weakness, your opportunities instead of your obstacles. Positive self-talk is not lying to yourself. It is leading yourself. It is reminding your mind that even in struggle, you carry power. The way you speak to yourself also sets the tone for how you allow others to speak to you. If your inner voice constantly tears you down, you will accept the same from the outside world. But if you train your voice to lift you, you will expect respect from others. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. That teaching begins with your self-talk. Think of it like planting seeds. Each word you say to yourself is a seed dropped into the soil of your mind. Negative words grow into weeds that choke your potential. Positive words grow into strength, courage, and determination. Every morning, you are either feeding weeds or nurturing growth. The choice is yours, and here's the beauty of it. You don't need to feel strong to speak strong. The feelings often come later. Speak the words first and the emotions will follow. Just as an athlete trains muscles before they show, you train your beliefs before they fully bloom. Speak as if you already are the person you want to become, and slowly your actions will catch up to your words. Self-talk also changes the way you handle challenges. When setbacks come, the untrained mind says, I knew I couldn't do it. The trained mind says, this is a lesson and I will grow through it. The same event, two completely different outcomes, all decided by the words spoken within. Your inner language becomes your inner strength. Every morning, give yourself this gift. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and declare words that lift you. Protect your mind from the enemy inside. Because if you win the battle of self-talk, no external battle can break you. Remember, the world will try to define you. People will give you labels, some good, some cruel. But their words only stick if they match the ones you already tell yourself. If your self-talk is strong, no insult can cut deep. If your self-talk is weak, even praise feels empty. Control the conversation inside and you control your destiny. So as you rise each morning, do not just move in silence, speak power into your life. Replace doubt with courage, fear with determination, and weakness with strength. Say it until you believe it, and believe it until you live it, because the words you say in the morning are not just words. They are blueprints for the life you are building. Words shape belief, but vision shapes direction. Once your self-talk is strong, the next step is to see your goals clearly before they happen. Visualization is the act of building your future in your mind so vividly that your brain begins to treat it as real. This is not daydreaming, it is mental training. It is the art of rehearsing success before it arrives. The human mind is powerful, but it cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined event and an actual memory. That is why athletes close their eyes and picture themselves winning before the competition. That is why top performers mentally rehearse their success before stepping onto the stage. They understand that when you see the outcome first in your mind, your body and actions naturally align to make it real. Most people fail because they only see the obstacles. They wake up and imagine what could go wrong. They picture rejection, failure, embarrassment, and disappointment. And because that is what they visualize, that is what they create. Visualization works both ways. If you constantly rehearse defeat, you prepare yourself to lose. But if you rehearse success, you train yourself to rise. Psychologists have shown that when you visualize a goal, the same areas of the brain activate as when you actually perform it. This means you are strengthening neural pathways for achievement, even before taking the first physical step. Each morning, when you picture the life you want with detail and emotion, you are programming your brain to search for ways to create it. Clarity is key. Vague images create vague results. If you want to build a powerful life, you must see it clearly. Imagine the feeling of waking up already successful. Imagine the environment around you, the energy you carry, the people who surround you, the impact you make. Add color, sound, emotion, and movement to the picture. The more detail you give your vision, the stronger it becomes. Visualization also creates emotional fuel. When you connect deeply with the image of your future, it awakens desire. That desire becomes persistence. You stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, I must do this. A mind fueled by vision does not give up easily because the picture is too vivid to ignore. But visualization is not about fantasy. It is not about wishing for a miracle without action. It is about aligning your inner world with your outer work. When you see your goal each morning, you prime your mind to notice opportunities that match it. What once looked invisible suddenly becomes visible because your brain is trained to search for patterns that fit your vision. Think about how you notice a car model after you decide to buy it. Suddenly it appears everywhere even though it was always there. That is the power of focus. Visualization works the same way. When you keep your goals in front of your mind, you begin to notice chances to achieve them that were always around you, but hidden by lack of focus. Another strength of visualization is resilience. When challenges come, most people quit because they cannot see past the pain. But if your vision is strong, you endure the struggle because you already know where it leads. You are not blinded by difficulty. You are guided by your mental picture of victory. That picture pulls you forward when motivation fades. Here's the practice. Every morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes and imagine yourself living the results you are working toward. Not someday, but as if it is already happening. Feel the confidence, the gratitude, the strength. Let your body absorb the emotions. Then carry those feelings into your day. This is not just imagination, it is rehearsal for the life you are building. Visualization also sharpens decision-making. When you know exactly what your future looks like, choices become easier. You no longer wonder, should I do this? You simply ask, does this move me closer to my vision? If the answer is yes, you act. If the answer is no, you let it go. A clear picture in your mind filters the noise of distraction, and remember, the vision you create is not fixed forever. It grows with you. As you expand, your goals expand. As you achieve, your pictures become larger, brighter, more powerful. The important thing is not perfection, it is consistency. See your future every morning and watch how your actions begin to align with it. Many people give up not because their goals are impossible, but because they never see themselves achieving them. They cannot imagine it, so they stop trying. But the moment you allow yourself to see it clearly, you give your mind permission to pursue it relentlessly. Your imagination becomes the blueprint, and your work becomes the construction. So each morning, do not just wake up and drift into the day. Close your eyes, see the life you want, feel the success in your bones. Carry that picture like a compass, because when you can see it inside, you will create it outside. The world bends for those who hold their vision firmly. A vision without action is only a dream. You can speak power into yourself. You can see the future with clarity, but unless you move, nothing changes. The final piece of your morning routine is the most important of all. Take the first step boldly. Not tomorrow, not when everything feels perfect. Today, right now. Most people hesitate at the edge of action. They wait for certainty, for confidence, for guarantees. But life never gives those guarantees. Waiting for the perfect moment is the same as choosing to do nothing. The truth is simple. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of it. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You only need to begin, and readiness will grow along the way. Psychologists teach us that momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Action changes your state of mind faster than thought. The moment you take that first step, no matter how small, your brain releases chemicals that build confidence and energy. Movement itself creates clarity. You cannot think your way into progress. You must act your way into it. Think of climbing a staircase. You don't need to see the entire path to reach the top. You only need to see the next step and take it. The same is true in life. Big goals can feel overwhelming, but when you break them into small actions and commit to the first one, you build unstoppable momentum. That single step leads to the next, and soon the mountain that once looked impossible begins to shrink under your feet. Hesitation, on the other hand, is a thief. The longer you delay, the stronger doubt becomes. Fear grows in stillness but weakens in motion. That is why boldness is powerful. It silences hesitation before it can control you. Each morning when you take immediate action, you send a message to your mind, I am not here to wait. I am here to move. That message rewires your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who talks about change and start seeing yourself as someone who creates it. Action also builds resilience. No plan is perfect and setbacks will always come. But when you act boldly, you learn faster than those who only think. Failure becomes feedback. Mistakes become teachers. Each step forward, even the missteps, gives you information that brings you closer to success. Inaction teaches you nothing. Bold action teaches you everything. There's a psychological principle known as the progress principle. It says that the single greatest source of motivation is making visible progress, no matter how small. When you take that first step, you create progress. That progress sparks energy, and that energy fuels the next step. It becomes a chain reaction of growth. Without the first move, the chain never starts. Do not underestimate the power of beginning. Entire businesses, revolutions, inventions, and transformations were born from a single action taken with courage. It was not the biggest step. It was the first. That is the step most people never take. They remain stuck in planning, dreaming, and preparing while those who act pass them by. Boldness separates the doers from the dreamers. And remember, bold action does not mean reckless action. It does not mean jumping blindly without thought. It means moving forward with courage, even when fear is present. It means deciding that progress matters more than perfection. It means trusting that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. Each morning, ask yourself, what is one step I can take today that moves me closer to my goal? Do not overcomplicate it. Do not wait for approval. Do not look for guarantees. Take the step. That single action can create a ripple that changes your entire life. Action also creates identity. When you repeatedly take bold steps, you begin to see yourself as someone who acts, not someone who hesitates. That shift in identity is powerful. Because once you believe you are the kind of person who follows through, you no longer struggle with procrastination. You live in alignment with your new identity. History honors those who acted boldly, not those who waited quietly. Every great achievement began with a decision to step forward when it was easier to hold back. Your life is no different. Boldness is the bridge between the vision in your mind and the reality in your hands. Without it, even the strongest vision remains trapped inside. So as you rise in the morning, do not stop at clarity, self-talk, or visualization. Use those tools to fuel the most important habit of all, bold action. Step into the day with courage. Move toward your goals, even if the step is small, because one step forward is always worth more than 1,000 intentions left undone. The world does not reward what you think about doing. It rewards what you actually do. Boldness is not just a choice. It is the foundation of every success story. And every morning, you have the chance to write yours. Take a step, take it boldly, then take another. Let your actions speak louder than your doubts, louder than your fears, louder than your excuses. Because once you begin, nothing can stop the momentum you create.